world title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
Which mentality do you come in with? I ask because when you were slick, to me that looked like a better fighter. But maybe this is the kind of fight where you just need to impose your strength.
Anthony Joshua's unshakable poise took center stage as he spoke with Max Kellerman, ahead of the highly anticipated Jake Paul fight, which has generated immense excitement among both traditional boxing fans and those drawn to crossover events. During the interview, Joshua didn't just focus on tactics. He also explored the immense pressure, legacy, and spectacle that define the surprising bout. Kellerman pushed for a deeper dive, prompting Joshua to discuss the critics, the high stakes, and the unexpected reasons behind facing one of the sport's most controversial figures.
Or a heavyweight champion, you're an undefeated Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist, you're entering your physical prime, and you put 100,000 people in Wembley. So I get your argument. I have the economic clout. He's not coming in as partners. I should get a bigger slice of the pie. Let's have a realistic negotiation.
Kellerman, known for his mix of sharp analysis and skeptical flair, quickly homed in on the larger story surrounding the matchup. He stated that there was no getting around it. This is one of the most unusual bouts in heavyweight boxing history. Joshua is a former world champion, while Jake Paul is primarily an internet celebrity. So, why is this fight happening? It's a question that's been on the minds of millions since the fight was announced. Joshua's response set the tone for the entire conversation.
Beat a guy like that, you're not gonna outbox him. If you're waiting on him and he's initiating and he's feinting you into counters and then he's countering.
Asked what he respects about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua responded thoughtfully, saying, he's bringing fresh eyes to boxing. He recognized that while Paul's entry into boxing may be unconventional and lacking in amateur experience, he's fully committed to the challenge. Joshua admires Paul's willingness to take risks and compete at a high level, something that, in Joshua's opinion, shines a light on the sport and helps bring boxing to new audiences who may not have otherwise tuned in. Point 4.
Does he remind you of any guy that you fought before? Is this a unique situation that you've never come across?
Very unique situation I've never come across, but treating with the same respect that I give all my competition.
So you got the mental fortitude, he's got the mental fortitude. But what's the one best thing that you pride Jake Paul of having that maybe you haven't seen in other competition you faced so far?
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute. But from a mental aspect, he offered me to fight. Normally, I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So he believes in himself.
What does the word legacy mean to you, AJ?
Legacy, what does it mean? This is what I was actually asking someone. What does legacy mean? I don't even know.
Size disparity between the two fighters has become a key talking point, and with good reason. What stands out is that while Jake Paul is solid and powerful within his own weight classes, standing next to Anthony Joshua highlights a true David versus Goliath situation. Joshua doesn't just tower over Paul. His physique reflects years of training as a heavyweight. The visual contrast between the two is striking. Even though Paul has bulked up, he still can't match Joshua's natural size or the imposing presence of someone accustomed to facing other elite heavyweights.
Jake Paul versus AJ, as though Jake Paul is the bigger in this equation. Not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220, probably fights around, the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy. Like, he's a big, big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that's the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes, but I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very, very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with AJ. That was a press conference that almost sounded like AJ versus someone in the top 10, where AJ's taking it seriously. He's answering the questions direct that Ariel's throwing him. There was no, yeah, we're here to kind of fuck around. It's going to be easy. Give me my money. Let me run back to the UK. This was AJ's like, no, we're taking this seriously. And that ain't a good thing for Jake Paul. It isn't. And AJ is that guy anyway. Like, I would never doubt that AJ would take this seriously. But for Jake Paul, I do wonder if realization is kicking in, or maybe he is just that delusional where he doesn't care. I do. And I've been sort of corrected by a few people who maybe know better, but I do think the Americans don't credit or rate AJ. I do think there's a bit of that. I remember when AJ did the rounds prior to the Ruiz fight, and there were a few people like, yeah, you're not that good. This was prior.
Kisabadarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, the promotional company backing Jake Paul, told Sky Sports that the December 19th fight with Anthony Joshua is being marketed as a major global event. Badarian acknowledged that while Joshua boasts far more experience, Paul's unshakable confidence could become the unpredictable element in this bout. He also shared that the fight had been fast-tracked. While the original plan had been to set up a 2026 showdown, Paul pushed for an earlier meeting, and negotiations were swiftly expedited to make it happen this year.
Will there be a limit for Joshua?
So there's a lot of discussion around the weight. Joshua fought Usyk twice. Both of those times, Usyk was 221 pounds. Joshua was 240 to 245. When Jake fought Mike Tyson last year, 227 pounds. I expect Jake will come in anywhere between 225 and 230, and Anthony Joshua has a weight limit of 245 pounds.
There will be those, as you're aware, that will look at it and criticise this fight. There already have been, haven't there? They'll say it's a real mismatch. What would you say to them? Are we going to be watching sport at its purest?
I would say it's much less of a mismatch than what you saw with AJ and Francis Ngannou, who a massive man, but relatively no boxing experience. I would say it's much less of a mismatch than AJ's 9th or 10th fight against guys who've been knocked out 20 to 25 times. Given AJ's pedigree, Jake is built for this. Jake is built for the big moments. So do I think it's dangerous for Jake Paul? Absolutely. Do I think it's also dangerous for Anthony Joshua?
Alexander Usyk has made it clear that he believes the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul fight is completely one-sided. Usyk compared Joshua to a Rolls-Royce and Paul to a Fiat, suggesting that there's no legitimate comparison between a battle-hardened heavyweight and an internet celebrity-turned-fighter. According to Usyk, the gap isn't just about fame or hype, but about fundamentals, experience, and physical conditioning. He believes Paul is putting himself in serious danger by stepping into the ring with Joshua, given the vast differences in their boxing backgrounds.
Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First. Jake Paul is, sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls-Royce, Fiat. Listen, it's true. I'm not by any otherwise.
Oh my god. But I'm have massive bet in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want to fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Yeah.
Do you think that Joshua should be fighting Tyson Fury next year?
I want this fight. Yes, I fan.
Jeff, an Olympic boxer, provided a different perspective on why Jake Paul shouldn't be underestimated. He pointed out that Jake Paul has access to every resource a professional fighter could need, with the financial means to hire elite trainers, world-class conditioning experts, sports psychologists, and top-tier sparring partners. Jake can create an ideal training environment without cutting corners. Jeff also highlighted that Jake understands this fight is the biggest challenge of his career, meaning he'll be preparing harder than ever before. Furthermore, Jeff reminded everyone that Jake's youth could work in his favor, as younger fighters tend to recover faster, train with more intensity, and bring more energy to the ring.
Now looking at the age difference, we've got 28 years old compared to 36 years old. So I guess the advantage there goes a little bit towards Jake Paul. 28-year-old is better than a 36-year-old. But that being said, we've got talking about experience and everything else, what comes with being 36 years old at Anthony Joshua's level. And then like I mentioned, the heavyweights kind of seem to prime a little bit older. Now come down to the height and the weight. This is the big one. 6'1" versus 6'6". 200 pound versus 252 pound. We got a 252 pounder in Anthony Joshua. The reach advantage is a lot, which we would expect. Amateur fights, we can see that Jake's only had one, where AJ's had 43, but 43 of them are including at the highest level, Olympic level. And yes, he won the Olympic bloody gold medal, if I don't need to remind you. Now, in the pro record, Jake Paul has had 13 fights, lost 1. AJ has had 28 fights and he's lost 4 with 25 KOs. And the one person that Jake Paul lost to was Tommy Fury. Now, can we compare Tommy Fury with Anthony Joshua? Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul. And I'm thinking, not really, it's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. Anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s? But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who ruled this for DAZN? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than 10 rounds